Hello. I thought, actually, let's share this because it feels potent. So I've been writing the report for October, and it says, like, today and yesterday we are kind of coming to clarities of letting go. Tomorrow we might feel that grief, and boy do I feel that. I've been feeling it for days. Like, the only thing I can think of this is familiar too, that one of my friends died when I was younger, a school friend of mine, and I'd been very sensitive. This is when I was first kind of picking up on hearing other people's higher self. At the time, it was kind of confusing time, and I actually sort of said to my guidance to kind of back off, because it was like me drawing a line with, like, I really need to make sure this is coming from me, where it is, if it's my sanity, etc. But at the time, before that, I felt this overwhelming grief. And I remember an incident. I'm standing in my cousin's kitchen saying to her, I know that someone is either dying or about to die, but I have no idea who it is. I know it's going to be someone that's so significant to me. It just feels really strong. Grief, or sense of grief. And since Friday, actually, is it last Friday, and we're now, so almost a week now, I've been feeling this similar sense. And when I was writing in the proof, of tuning into this, and I feel it's a sense of the collective grief. So I was talking about how we have this sort of stepping into the bubble of and the merging of this expansion of bubbles are popping. I did a video on this, and the choice point of which bubble, what are we resonating with? The heart this month is very, very needed, because it needs to be guided from the heart. Now, you can step into the frequency of sadness or and I was kind of, or fear, and all of the other sort of levels or kaleidoscope of emotion, because this month is a very emotional month, because there's lots going on, and we're all becoming very in tune with our gifts, and our empathy is strong, and the compassion is strong, and that's for a reason, for us to discern from the heart space. So we're learning how to, as part of being a new human, when we step into, and we'll eventually be on a more telepathic nature, to understand the dynamics of energy and how we can project that energy out, and we can pick up on that, and knowing what's us, what's the collective, and also to the individual. So why did I bring up this incident? So old me would have gone, oh God, is it that? But when I tuned into it, I didn't feel as though it was that. I felt as though it was almost like a collective identity shift, that we're letting go of who we've been. And obviously we've also got individual stuff happening in relationships. That's going to be coming up this month. And I felt to myself, well, you know, why do I almost feel depressed? But I don't, if that makes it, I don't know how to express that, because I know that the 3D world would go, oh, well, you're feeling a bit low, it's anxiety or whatever, it hormones perhaps from this time. And I know all of the 3D answers for that, but I also know innately that it isn't that. I can feel the difference. I tune in to the collective to write the reports, and there was that, but there was also this personal thing that was coming through, and Fred, on a personal note for me. So I'm like, am I grieving who am I becoming, and that letting go? And this first week is very much about that, as we go into the full moon, to release and lead up to that. It's going to be a bit like a on the pain points and on your triggers, but there will be such, I can also feel the wisdom coming up. This will be a growth point for us. But God, I can feel the emotion that comes off the back of it. For me personally and globally, for the shifts that are about to happen. And it made sense, because as much as I'm a big Abraham Hicks fan, and I know that obviously what you're tuning into is going to make a difference to the frequency or energy bubble alignment that you're tuning into and aligning to, but I also am aware that you think about how much of humanity right now, I feel it's like the heart going wide open, how much of humanity right now is launching rockets of desire for peace, for shift, for change. Now, energetically, that instantly happens, but obviously in this density of our reality that we're moving through and aligning to these different timelines of being, we're needing to catch up to that within the density of the physical. So the heart is easy to say, yes, see it from high perspective, but don't lose that perspective. Don't be detached all up here and spiritually bypassing. It needs to be grounded. It needs to be rooted in the shifts and changes that are happening. And there's a lot of shedding still to happen. One of the animal totems for this month was the snake, because we are shedding and allowing, even in the face of fear, not necessarily to attack, but to sort of get over our fears. I also see it as it's like the reptilian part of the brain too is what is evolving, what is shifting, and the reptilian part of us on a level, and it's a very physical thing on the amygdala and how we react to things and how that's being triggered and how we're now aware of how that's being triggered and manipulated in some regards, and how we can take back that power and control within our own being. So I started with this and went in a different tangent. This also feels like there's relationship wise, there's a call for beings to retune and reset to be with those that are more in alignment with themselves, and how that affects our relationships is going to come into play throughout the month, because we are in an ego sense in a way, in the I am Aries with the moon, that I am presence, me, but if we take that deeper, it's the soul. What is my purpose? Is this right? Is this in the highest good? And everyone's asking those questions. So people might be a bit raw, and like I said, it's like that trigger pain points being triggered, but allowing it to be your growth is one of the keys. Not letting the emotions to overwhelm. And like I can feel that heart when I tune into the collective. I feel as though that can be shifted. I just heard a reel and someone saying we've kind of failed to save lots, and I don't believe that's true. I feel like lots of soul contracts have come into play in a very, very big way this month, and there are many people that are feeling this intense pull, because if they're not on the right path, they're almost being shoved by guidance, internal insights, instinct to get on the right path, and that's kind of causing internally people to maybe lash out on a lower level, but to redirect that emotions, or to readdress those emotions and reframe what's going on in their lives. So it's really important not to ignore your emotions, not to shove them down, but also not to overanalyze them. As I said, the heart will come into play. Just keep centering, keep bringing in the joy spirits, grounding and doing what is right. There's a colour wise, there's definitely, hello, deep, as I know I need to go soon. I might be able to even pause this. I think I might pause this and we'll continue with the rest of the report. So yeah, let's do that. Let's continue with the report and pause it just there for the moment. I'm going to try and whiz through it. Sorry, it's quicker for you then. Right, so the core themes of October is like this deep lapis indigo depths, deep consciousness, emotional ocean, soul connection, timeless connection, Day of the Dead, Halloween and Samhain. You have butterfly effect, this stepping into timelines, transformation, alignment, realigning ourselves, resonating with different groups and places and people, and what we're knowing what is right for us, and that mammal kind of wanting to categorize. Choice point for that, and remembering who we are, who we truly are, the embodiment, our identity shifts. And I think that's why there's a lot of collective grief. There is also because of what's been going on, and the heart chakra of the world is wide open, and that means that we need to ground. There's this watery flow that's connected with that, with the grief, with authenticity, with taking action and aligned with the highest timeline. There's the birthing energy, the creation energy, womb, nurturing, creation, Pele, goddess of Hawaiian goddess type of energy, and the other goddess that I just can't remember, she gives P as well, not Pele, but our divine sexuality, and readdressing what sexuality is, this kind of the sex is even, and the infinite being in its source is kind of all connected with that on the highest level, as well as the lower levels that we're seeing actually coming up. Collective energy flow, honouring the past, wisdom of ancestry, remembering where we've been, and this is about new discoveries that are happening, that are rewriting history through archaeology, and having to then, that people, there's a lot of that don't want that to be the story, so there will be this unpicking, readdressing stuff, but also this gathering of a remembered. The more we are multidimensional, the more we step outside of time and space, we literally step back in the past and can see and feel and step into the future in the existing moment, which is where the point of power is. So honouring the past as well, where we're giving thanks for ancestry with Samhain, Day of the Dead, those that have come before us, and that kind of Remembrance Day as well. I think around that time that there's going to be collectively, that will be very important. We're remembering where we've been, and people kind of noticing patterns. Ceremony and gathering, though, linked to that on the higher level of energy, coming together as a vigil, where the veil is feeling or non-existence, which it doesn't actually exist anymore, so we can step into that power. But Jamie Butler mentioned yesterday, I caught, she was saying this is about not using it as a tool, understanding the reason behind that. Like, for example, for my family, we every year, it's been part of what we did, and remembering loved ones and the culture. It's there's definitely a sense of around ceremony, and I've been picking up on this because there's like loads and loads of cacao ceremonies coming off, or ayahuasca ceremony. It's become a trend, and it's allowing it to touch more people on one level, a bit like The Secret, if you like, and opens it up for more. However, it takes away the sacred nature. And there's definitely this need for there to be more of the divinity there, the more of the sacred there, and it not to be lessened or used as a tool. It outside of ego, more the connection that between the individual and the higher sense of whatever their belief system. So fluid movement, authentic actions, holding steady to the new timelines, and identity shifts. This is grieving old selves while stepping into the higher trajectories. There is this sense of, like I said, we're almost grieving who we were and who we've been, and now we're in a totally different, I see it everywhere. I mean, speaking to people at checkouts, she said, oh, it needs to be like this. She was talking just about the bags, and like, where did all the plastic bags? Oh, we had, like, there's this sense of going back to brown paper bags, but that's the way it was when she was younger. And she was saying it was like we went away from the simplicity, and actually a need to get back to that. And that comes into that knowing what your ancestors has done. And by ancestry, that could be just your family line, personal line, and speaking to your old folks and your grandma and your grandpa and what they've been through, and understanding and feeling the resonance with and honouring that. Practicing lymph flush. So the Qigong focus I've put is lymphatic flush, mobility for shoulders, hips, relief for knees, cardiovascular support for that heart, because some people's heart is literally gonna, oh my God, heart open and cause issues. So tips for this sequence: to be strenuous, listen to your body, and I've put 10-minute video there for the weekly. I'll weave that into the weekly as well. But supporting this with the liver and detoxification, because lymphatic flush is no use doing that, because it gets to the point where it's overloaded when the liver is overloaded. So if you start with the liver, that's going to help heavy metal detox and cleanse to heal. I always would recommend the cleanse to heal. Doesn't flush the body with the poison and overload, and then it has to take it all back in. So it does it in a more gentle fashion. That would be the only one I personally would recommend, because of the information I resonate with Medical Medium and that book. So you've got that copy on your members area in the Telegram group. So herbs and nutritional allies. I've put ginger because it takes down inflammation, and zinc for support. So anything that's going to support, I'd add to that. I haven't written on here, but I've handwritten rosemary for antibacterial properties. And also rosemary is I kept seeing it. My rosemary is flowering up the front. I'll put the meaning up today about how the flower is symbol for remembering. And I think that will help with the remembering and remembering loved ones. Also, it spiritually is symbol of love and the heart and loved ones. So, and there's this sense of, I feel really powerfully calling in twin flame energy. Now, that doesn't have to be another person on this earth. It could be your twin flame in energies in the divine. So, but that link, connection, masculine and feminine connection is very important to our own integral soul path. So that link with the love. So herbs that would support that, and dream for any meditation when it comes to the 22nd, I would say the Egyptian lotus, but look for stuff from your territory. I've also put lemon balm for the emotional support as well, for calming, and chamomile and lavender, obviously another ones you could add in for if you're feeling extra stressed, to help with sleep. So the first and second, so it's the second today, so opening and sharing, and obviously letting go of the grief. There's a massive rise in this energy, calm, clarity, throat chakra activation. We're sharing, and that might be, if it's done sharply, a little bit painful later on when it's happening. So I'll say about the crystals that can help. Prioritising self and the body, and awareness of the shifts on the 3rd tomorrow. really get into the body, I will do a movement practice for tomorrow. And you got the happiness, ease and clarity over the next week, leading up to the 6th. There's this intense, so I watched Jamie Butler was talking about this back and to and fro. And I mean, it's easier if I'd read what I wrote. I felt this deep purple, the water, the unconscious, the butterfly's transformation. This is the struggle, the back and pull of the butterfly to become the butterfly. We've got to go through this kind of, we're in it. This is the contraction pains. Awareness of the shifts and awareness of where you need to shift. And then you've got this happiness, this ease. And then on the 6th, you've got that intense, unconscious bubbling, blunt truths and telling strong. So keep your focus for the super full moon in Aries. Positive change, alignment, turning fork resonance, tuning fork resonance to who it is you are becoming. And this is magnifying everything on an emotional scale. Aries in its negative can be war. It's warlike. There's a warring of within the being happening and externally because of this within the being. So it's us needing to focus this is shadow warlike arguments, bluntness, emotional intensity around that. But don't fear it, because instead lean into it, because it's your growth point. It's what do I need from that? And actually it's a little bit like the storm that clears the air, if you like. That's how the energy of what I see. The rest day on the 8th. Hair everywhere, wild hair. And then you've got the 9th and the 14th, emotional challenges, acknowledgement to be need. You need to acknowledge where the pain points are. The last quarter moon in Cancer, that's Cancer, crab that need to go within, and that emotional sense of that, and the home, at home needing to spend time. Maybe this is peak restructuring and high awareness that's going to be happening. You'll be aware it'll be taking place. Take solitude and meditate. The army is going over the top. Chinook. And so on the 15th, rooting, grounding back into the body and timeline focus. 16th to 17th, lightning energy. It's more of a risk-taking, soothing the connections. Truth bombs may feel raw, but practice that compassion in how you're saying, and in those that are saying it to you, if you're feeling you're on the receiving end of the rawness. 21st, new moon in Libra, and then you've got the triggers and wounds surfacing, breaking through, possibly if fears are faced, opportunities and everything you've been asking for, if you are able to push past that on the 21st. So the 22nd is a deep spiritual day. Multidimensional awareness is there. Self-care important. So salt bath, spa days. If you want to take a day for a mental health day, that's the day to do it. Divine communication and downloads. So you might be feeling a little bit, I won't just write it all down, what's coming through, and it'll be a bit random. That was the message from Maitland. I was feeling into it that this is about, all right, come in, spending time with love beings, pets being important, psychic, intuition and telepathy that day be good. All right. She wants to be held. Okay. Gorgeous. So where do we get to? Then we've got 26, the end of the month. Contract energy versus, so it's contract energy, dark versus light. The 29th, powerful downloads, inspirations, telepathy, journaling, insights. 29th, powerful downloads, inspiration, telepathy, insights. Sorry, 31st, Samhain and Halloween. So highlighted intuition and connection. Reminder of intuition is a life. The lifestyle is not just a tool. Then the spirit, the snake spirit, inner wisdom, shedding the skins, moving through, fear, love and compassion leading the way, and spirit guides, butterfly, transformation and soul connection, water rat, adaptability and intuition, and snake, wisdom within, shedding old identities. Crystals are green aventurine for the heart, amazonite for the throat chakra to calm the communication, and selenite for the crown and heightened guidance. Essential oils that was suggested: 5 drops of frankincense, 4 drops of clary sage, 3 drops of sweet orange, and blend times by 4 in 4 ounces. Is it times by 4? I'll have to check my notes on that one. You guys that do essential oil probably know the ratios better, but then you can kind of times that if you put it in 4 ounces, so it can be more. Key dates: the 6th to the 7th of October, full moon in Aries; 13th to the 14th of October, last quarter moon in Cancer; 21st of October, new moon in Libra; 22nd of October, deep meditation, spiritual communication; 29th to the 31st of October, quarter moon in Aquarius and Salmain, and the frequency of the month 525 hertz. This is B song, love and forgiveness and compassion. There's loads more I want to add into that, so I'm going to keep it at that, so it's nice and short. He's looking up at me. Sorry, I've got the cat looking, staring through the window down there. You come down, Larry. So anything else that needs to be said? I feel there's a deep soulmate connection aspect coming up. Now, that can be confusing because for different people that means different things, and it's not about necessarily romance. It is for some, but there's this, it's coming from the need to connect on a deeper level, not just on a superficial level, and that need to be with your tribe, if you like, but not because it's all join my tribe because this is a thing to make money, because that's totally the wrong frequency. It's more than that. It's a feeling and a hearing and a remembering of who you are, and then watching how the synchronicities and those people are put in front of you, and then also seeing as that tuning fork of energy is sort of vibrating through the month of, I don't resonate with that anymore, I can let go of that. And then in a sense there's some grief happening around that. So in our daily relationships, spend time with your animals. They may be feeling it because they're feeling this enhanced what is it, like a chime of what's going out across the earth, because it's the earth ourself and the neurons, as we are the neurons of the planet, kind of coming into a line. That's what's rewiring. As we rewire our own self for the highest timelines, the earth is already rewired, but there is that sense of, on a physical, tectonic shifts as well. So there was a sense of water being very, very big. I don't like to say that there will be a tsunami, but I think water in itself and the information, like for example Venda Austin's information, Dr. Emoto, those things coming into play and into more of people's conscious awareness of and the consciousness of water. So this is spinal fluid and brain and how it cerebral fluid, and then the link between consciousness and how we are linked in more of a way with the collective understanding and communication and consciousness itself. It's liquid plasmic water because it's light, and how light affects structure and structured water, our understanding of structured water within vegetables, within food and what we eat, and how that relates to our body and our diet. So all of that is going to have an effect on the physical, which is why I've said like the lymphatic flush, the lymph system, which then the blood and the liver and blood and poisons. I think someone was saying about the astrology thing, it's linked to, I think it was Pam Gregory actually was mentioning this, about how there is a link with blood and poisoning of the blood. So I feel that will be relevant, hence the kidney stuff, to help, because we can heal and help shift through that. So I've kept it nice and short. I wanted to keep it in half an hour for you guys. That's our kind of deep dive into the report, and then you've obviously got the card reading to help you with this month, and I'll do a smaller version of this so you can keep it in your diaries and add that information to help. You don't have to do all of them, and obviously I've added in some of the stuff from the trans channels have said, but what I feel is important is the dynamic with relationships and your relationship with your identity, yourself, and how there's this kind of collective being called for purpose, which it's no different to how it's been, other than it's magnifying it, and therefore everybody's feeling it, and even if they're not aware that's what it is, because that's what's coming out, because they're like, this don't work for me anymore, or this don't feel right, or I've had enough of this. And you've got to see that anger on the emotional scale isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's staying there that is. It needs to go up to the next level. I can't remember what is on the next on that scale to shift. So it's definitely out of the sorrow and grief and a lower, it's a higher energy so than those lower ones. So just allowing yourself to not stay there and feel more sense of hope, to lift up into the higher ones of compassion and love. So have a beautiful month, insightful month. Be kind to yourself. Make sure you take some spa time, even if it's just running yourself a bubble bath or having a salt shower if you haven't got a bath, and taking time just to do little things. Like I came out here to have my lunch and sat in the garden, and I can feel the green and the energy of the green around me. Speak to the trees, hug the trees. You feel that the telepathy at the moment with nature and animals is off the charts. It's there to help as well. It can help, and the forest energy with the hertz as well. So yeah, and look at the abundance around as well with the autumn and the colours, and it's very grounding, very beautiful time of year, or can be. So thank you and take care, and I'll speak to you soon.